video shows you what a good bow hold looks like, and it contains exercises to make your bow hold both flexible and strong. Before we can start to do our bowing technique, I'll show you the bow and explain a little bit about it. This end of the bow is called the heel or the frog, and this end of the bow is called the tip or the point. Before we can play on the bow, we need to tighten it and put some rosin on. I tighten it with that little screw at the heel end of the bow, and I tighten it so much that I can just stick my finger in. It's just under 1 centimetre apart between the stick and the hair in the middle, so I can just fit my finger in the middle and that will be all right. At the end of our playing session, we will need to remember to undo the bow again to keep the flexibility and stretchiness in the hair. Next, I'm going to apply some rosin to my bow. The rosin will make the hair of the bow stickier so that you're able to create a sound. If we didn't have any rosin at all on the bow, we wouldn't hear a sound at all. The hair would just slip across the strings without making any sound. On the other hand, if we put far too much rosin on, the sound would get very scratchy. Rosin comes in various different shapes and sizes and qualities. There is anti-allergenic rosin, and there's children's rosin and special rosin for cellos. So you might play around softer rosin and harder rosin and see what suits you best. Now we're ready to have another look at the bow. I've brought this old bow with me, and it is quite frayed at either end. The hair of the bow is not actually glued onto the stick at all. It is just wedged in here, and if I pulled a hair out here at the point, just pulling it off like that, I risk unwedging that point of the bow and all the hair will be coming out. So I suggest if you've got little bits of fray there, always to cut them off with a pair of scissors. Start with a very relaxed bow hand. So give it a little bit of a shake so that it's nice and floppy. And then you want to make a ring between your thumb and your middle finger. Note how my thumb is bent, like this, and how it touches my middle finger about in the middle. Now I have a little bit of a gap there, and that's where I put the heel of my bow. And if you have a really close look, my thumb is going to go in this corner here. So that's where I stick my thumb, and then I had that ring so my middle finger comes opposite. Note how my thumb is still bent even though I hold the bow. So this is my general bow hold. That is actually what stops the bow from falling on the floor. Note how my thumb is still bent. And now I'm going to put my fingers down one by one, just where they want to come. My index finger goes just there, my ring finger there, and my little finger is a little bit special. You might have noticed that your bow has edges here and it isn't round, at least most bows aren't. And that is to help you place your little finger, because your little finger is not over the bow like the other fingers. It is on cellos, but not on violins and violas. But your little finger is leaning gently against the side towards you. Note as well that these two middle fingers are closer together, and then I've got a gap here between my index and middle finger, and I've also got a slight gap between my ring finger and my little finger. Now it is time to develop a bit more flexibility in that bow hold, and you can do this with me if you like. Start making some gentle waves with your bow. That makes your wrist nice and flexible. Once you're comfortable doing that, do some big windscreen wipers and see if you can feel the difference in how the weight shifts. When I tip it over this side, the weight of my bow is leaning onto my index finger here, and my little finger isn't actually carrying any weight at all. But when I go over, you get this pivot, and now my little finger is actually carrying the weight of the bow. You can see it hinge there. So do a few more of these windscreen wipers so you feel that shift in balance of the bow. And then there is another exercise which makes your fingers nice and strong, and you learn to control them on the bow, and that is this. If you can do this, you've got pretty good bow control, so you might want to practice this quite a lot. I'm just walking up and down the bow, up to the point, And then I'm going to see if I can keep the bow fairly still whilst I go down towards the heel of the bow again. And you will find probably that this is very, very tricky to do at first, or your bow is just wriggling big time. Over time, that will get easier and you get more control. And this, in particular, makes your little finger very strong, but also the muscles at this end of your hand here. So that is a very good exercise to develop muscle strength in your right hand, because eventually we'll need to be able to turn the bow and to make it move direction up and down, which we do with our index finger and ring finger. We just pivot it like that. We move it sideways, forwards and backwards, which I also do with my little finger and my index finger. But there is a third movement, and that is you can also roll the bow between your fingers, and that's why it's so important that your thumb is bent underneath, so that eventually you've got the option of rolling the bow between your fingers as well. And then there's a combination of all these three exercises. Holding your thumb like this for any length of time will seem near impossible at first, but with some practice you'll find that your thumb muscles will get stronger, your little finger muscles will get stronger, and if you practice that for between 5 and 10 minutes for 3 to 6 weeks, actually you'll never think of it again, and it will become second nature. So please don't despair if you find it's impossible to do at this stage. Good luck with it. Thank you for watching.